Hello, welcome to this week's Connection Through Music video. So this week we are going to be talking about one of my favourite topics, which is communication. And one of the things that I most love people to realise about communication is that it doesn't just involve words. And it's something that seems kind of obvious, and when you think about, well, we gesture and we use tone of voice and facial expressions, and when we're talking about those things alongside spoken communication, it seems really obvious. But what sometimes people forget is that children and adults who don't use spoken communication actually still can communicate in other ways. So with either with kind of assistive technologies that help them communicate, or sometimes just through their own gestures and their own expressions and their own actions and their body language. And it's up to us as the people that care for them and work with them and love them to learn their language and to learn how to communicate with them and how to read what they're saying to us. So one of the things I do is I'm a Makaton tutor. So I teach people how to use Makaton, which is a language tool using signing and symbols and speech. And at the beginning of every Makaton course, we start with an activity about communication. And so what I do is I put a picture up on the screen, and I've got all my course participants are in pairs, and one of them is sitting with their back to the screen so they can't see the picture. And what the task is the person who is looking at the picture has to describe it to their partner, and they draw it on their pad, but neither of them are allowed to speak to each other. So what usually happens, this is something that happens on every Makaton course as the opening activity, and what usually happens is that people go, oh my goodness, but they find a way. They find a way of doing it, and then once we've done the activity, we reflect back on it and we say, well, how did you do that? What did you use? What tools did you use? And people will say gesture, facial expression. They'll say, I pointed at things in the room that I could see that I wanted in the picture. I mimed things. I used a shared experience that we both had in order to communicate this idea. And so as you go through this activity, it becomes more and more obvious that there are a myriad of ways in which we communicate with each other without actually using any words at all. So what I wanted to do in this video is to go through and show you a video that was taken when I was working in a school with a young child. So this school and the children's parents all very kindly gave me permission to film and to use these films to show people what I do and to explain to people and teach people how to do a similar thing. So I'm going to show you this little film and I'm going to talk you through it, and so you can watch the interaction that I have with this particular child and see the particular features of it. So just to set you up for the clip, what's happening in the clip is I have been singing to this child and I've been playing this instrument, which is called a shruti. So you play it by squeezing air through, and then the air comes through the holes at the front, and you can change the holes to get different sounds. And this is a fantastic instrument for using with children with special needs. I use it a lot because you get an awful lot of sensory feedback from this front panel where the air is coming through, and the children love to play it, and they love to squeeze it and to change the notes and to feel everything coming through. So in this video I've been singing with this child and I have been playing the shruti with her, and she has been joining in with me making some vocalizations. So she doesn't communicate with speech, but she has been vocalizing along with the song. And when I reach the end of the phrase in the song, I stop and I congratulate her on her lovely singing, because I'm wondering whether she wants to sing herself or whether she wants me to sing too. And what we'll see in the video is that she manages to communicate with me really clearly what she wants me to do. So here we go. So you can see we've been singing together, and oh yes, she wants me to sing again. Now, you might think that because she's looked away from me, that she's not listening anymore, but I actually think she's listening very intently. And you can see because she looks back at me. She looks back, we make eye contact. She's rocking to the music. Now she's completely turned around to face me. And she smiles. There we go. That's such a beautiful interaction. And you can see that she's really engaged with me and really engaged with the activity and with the song. She just needed to take her time to really concentrate, to listen to what I was doing. And then because I gave her the space to do that, she was able to turn around to face me, to make eye contact, to share in that joint interaction together. And look at that now, she's so relaxed. So she's lying down singing, and we're singing together. And that's just lovely. And this idea of making eye contact all the time being really important is, it just isn't. It's a big fallacy, and for a lot of people, for children and adults with special needs, autistic people, and even for very tiny babies, it's very, very common. The psychologists call it a look away cycle, because it's necessary for babies to look away from their caregiver at times because it's too overwhelming. There's too much input going on, and so you get this cycle where they will look and they will make eye contact, and then they will break eye contact. They'll look away, they'll regulate themselves, calm down, and then they will come back and look at you again. And that cycle is really important so that they don't get overstimulated and overregulated. And we do it naturally as babies, but by the time we're adults, we're kind of conditioned into this idea that we have to keep eye contact all the time and to look at somebody all the time to communicate with them properly. And it's just not true. People often need just that space to kind of process, and if someone's looking away from you, perhaps they're really listening, and perhaps they just need some time to really think about what you're saying. And I often find that when I'm listening to somebody, I like to look at their mouth because it helps me to sort of follow their speech. But often I find when I'm watching television or something like that, I can understand and follow it a lot better if I'm not actually looking at the screen at the time. So I'm autistic myself, so I have some kind of differences in this area. So either if I'm looking at the screen, then I need subtitles on it because I need to read what's happening at the same time. But if I'm doing some crochet or something and I'm watching my crochet as I'm listening to what's going on, then I can actually follow the storyline much better. So anyway, it's ended up quite a long video, so I'm going to leave it there for today, but I would be fascinated to hear your thoughts on this and your thoughts on communication and eye contact. And it's such an interesting subject, and everybody has such different experiences of it. So if you know somebody who has some differences in sensory experiences in their life, maybe chat to them, see what they think, see how they find eye contact, or see how they like to communicate best. And yeah, if you fancy it, you drop in me a comment, let me know how you get on. Otherwise, I will see you next time.